Bartle Hall has been the location of the KC Auto Show for years, and now legislation in Kansas wants to move it across the state line.
All new this morning in our 6 o'clock hour, reporter Bryant Madrick joins us live to take a look at what this means and the potential of moving it to a whole different location. Bryant, good morning.
Hey, good morning. This really is a big deal. Now, let's just, first of all, let's start by saying that this is not a done deal, but it is a possibility that the auto show could move from the location that it's been at for a long time. Bartle Hall, across the state line in Kansas. Of course, the people who produce the auto show say that this is all about the financial health of the event, especially during COVID-19. But Mayor Quentin Lucas says that if this goes through, it would be bad for the metro.
For years, the KC Auto Show has been held in Kansas City, Missouri, but now legislation in Topeka could give a green light to moving the event to Kansas. Senate Bill 33 would allow car dealers to display their vehicles somewhere other than their lots on a temporary basis. Larry Carl, the CEO of the Automobile Dealers Association of Greater Kansas City, sent a letter to the Kansas legislature supporting the bill. He says moving the auto show from KCMO to the Kansas Speedway would be an improvement. The shift of the auto show from Missouri into Kansas is beneficial to the state, Wyandotte County, and the more localized Legends Village West development area. Kansas City, Missouri Mayor Quentin Lucas says attempts to move the event is bad for the metro.
I think it's ridiculous, right? You actually go through of the myriad of things for any legislature to work on right now, a bill to steal an auto show that it can move just a few miles over and can have entirely the exact same probably folks and regional draw and all of that is exactly why the border war truce was signed by the governors of Missouri and Kansas a few years ago, to avoid those sorts of things.
In a statement from Larry Carl, whose organization produces the auto show, he said this: "The opportunity to reinvent the auto show at an outside location in June allows us to hold a more innovative, interactive, and experiential event. An outside venue also allows for more social distancing and other COVID protocols."
Now, I should also add that earlier in my story, I told you about that letter to Kansas lawmakers where producers of the auto show, the CEO, expressed desire for the auto show to be located at the Kansas Speedway. However, officially in that statement from Larry Carl, he wanted to reiterate that right now, if the auto show was to move from Bartle Hall over to Kansas, right now they have not announced where that location in Kansas could be. So that's still up in the air. But right now, the legislation's still going through the legislative process in Topeka. I know that right now, at last check on the website, that a hearing in the House is scheduled for next week. Back to you.
Bryant, so the mayor mentioned that border war truce before Missouri and Kansas governors between them a couple years ago. Wasn't that supposed to avoid situations like this? How does that play into this?
Yeah, that's what the mayor thinks. Now, I will tell you that this whole border war truce, it was something that the governments on each side of the state line agreed on, basically to prevent poaching of businesses on each side of the state line. Of course, tax incentives playing a big role in that. Right now, as far as we know, tax incentives don't play any role in this. For the producers of the auto show, they say this is really just about the financial health of the event, making sure that, especially in the middle of COVID, that if they could get the most bang for the buck for this event, everyone is a winner. Of course, if this event moves from Kansas City over across the state line, Kansas City, Missouri would be a big loser. So this is something, of course, we'll be keeping a close eye on, but right now, still going through the legislative process, and it's not a done deal that it's going to leave the city, despite the attempts to try to make it happen. Put it live from Bryant Madrick, 41 Action News.
Really interesting to listen to the wording there, Brian. You heard the mayor say steal an auto show whenever he was describing what could happen there if it moves from KCMO over to the Kansas side. Bryant Madrick reporting live for us this morning. Thank you.